GolfNewsRI presents the Golf Dudes Podcast. Here are the dudes.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Golf Dudes Podcast. I'm Joe Calabro, and let me be the last, I was going to say first, but probably the last at this point, to wish you a happy March Madness Day. Obviously, the NCAA tournament started today, and good luck to everybody in your brackets, especially if you signed up for the GolfNewsRI Bracket Challenge. Thank you to everybody who participated in that. But anyway, happy March Madness Day. It's one of the best sports days or sports weekends of the year for sure. So enjoy. Hope everyone's enjoying all the games so far, and obviously plenty more to go. And so anyway, happy March Madness Day. Thanks to everybody who signed up for our bracket challenge. We had about 20 people, so that's pretty good. I just figured it was gonna be me, Jeff, and Austin. So I'm happy that more people signed up. So it should be fun, little thing that we're doing. So anyway, thanks to everybody for that. We got to get into a few things here. I'm not going to keep you too long, but a couple of things. First, we got to tell you that the Golf Dudes Podcast is presented by Link's Drinks. Link's Drinks, of course, is best known for their transfusion in a can. The transfusion is vodka, ginger ale, and grape juice, all mixed up into one refreshing beverage. Now, of course, you could get the other two flavors, the front nine, which contains orange juice, and the back nine, which contains I believe cranberry juice. So check out Link's Drinks at liquor stores and country clubs near you. They'll also be at the Northeast Golf Show this weekend for those that are attending that event over at Gillette Stadium. So thanks to our friends at Link's Drinks for the support. Excuse me. So anyway, I hope everyone's having a good day or had a good day to this point. And so a couple of things to get into. Well, we're going to start with the biggest story, or the most recent story, which is last night, GolfNewsRI, Wednesday night, GolfNewsRI broke that Max Jackson, the LaSalle phenom, is going to be going to Rutgers. He committed to Rutgers to play golf, Division I golf. So huge deal there. We put that up last night. The story has been updated since. So if you read the original version, feel free to go back and reread it. There's some quotes and some different things that we've added in to lengthen the story and own the story. So, but a big deal. I know he was looking at, or a couple of different schools were looking at him. He was looking at a couple of different schools. And at the end of the day, he picked Rutgers, and he'll go there. Obviously, has a year and a half-ish left of high school golf. And then he'll go there in the fall of 2024, I believe. Hopefully I have my dates correct. So super exciting stuff. Congrats to Max on the commitment. Obviously, the huge burden lifted off of him. Making those college commitments is a big deal. Obviously, a lot of stress involved for him, and obviously, I'm sure his family and friends. So now that that's out of the way, he can focus on golf, which is good because obviously, a big spring season coming up for himself and for LaSalle. And we're super excited for that. But the decision for Max, I'm told, it really just came down to coaching. He was really impressed with the Rutgers coaching staff. They really cared about him more so than just his golf. And they weren't just recruiting him by a number, by what he's shooting. They were kind of recruiting everything. So he was really impressed with them. They were obviously impressed with him. And that's what I'm told the decision came down to. I know there were a few other schools in the mix, and he just chose Rutgers. So that was the big news Wednesday night. Again, congrats to Max on the big commitment, and looking forward to getting the spring season started for high school in just a few weeks, really. So that was the first big news topic that we need to go over. Obviously, the second big news topic came earlier this week when GolfNewsRI learned that the Rhode Island Floorball Championship is going to be held at Crestwood and Warwick. So two pretty good locations, especially Warwick. I'm hoping that the final day is at Warwick, so people can close the tournament out there. But so we learned that somebody sent us a link to show it. Riga hadn't put it on their schedule yet, actually. So I'm not sure if they have since, but so that was big. And in this time when courses are not wanting to host tournaments, and for whatever reason, Riga has trouble filling up their tournament schedule, and a lot of places do. It's not just a Riga issue. This is like a kind of nationwide thing. It's just Riga's just part of it. And it was good that those two clubs stepped up. Crestwood and Warwick should be a great tournament, obviously, and looking forward to that. I believe that's May, first couple of days in May, so that's coming up soon as well. So I didn't see anybody complaining too much about that, so it feels like people are happy about that. Those courses. I know when you put up the Rhode Island Open being held at Connecticut National, people were pissed. So I didn't see too much backlash about this. So I guess people are fine with it. So again, two big stories that we hit this week: Max Jackson to Rutgers, big deal. Division I golf, another Division I golf commit to go along with Harry Dessel, excuse me, Morgan McLeod, and a handful of others that are playing Division I golf, but also just college golf in general. It's obviously a big deal to go play in college, no matter what division you're in. But certainly, playing Division I is impressive. So, congrats again to Max. So that was the big story. We broke that Wednesday night. So check that article out. Like I said, it has been updated since then. And then the other one, of course, is the Rhode Island Floorball will be held at Crestwood and Warwick, which GolfNewsRI reported earlier this week. So that was been the two big things from the week. Obviously, in the pro game, you have the ball rollback that the USGA, excuse me, is attempting. So we can get into some of that as well. And so yeah, that's kind of the big news of the week. That's kind of what's going on in the world of GolfNewsRI. GolfNewsRI glass. Cheers. You get them in the pro shop. They're pretty good, actually. They come out really nice. Anyway, sorry. So thanks everybody for tuning in. A few other quick announcements here that we are working on. Obviously, thanks to everybody again for filling out the bracket. That was a lot of fun. Tentatively, we're hoping to have a GolfNewsRI season kickoff party in a few weeks to go along with kind of the Masters. So stay tuned for that. We're working on some of the details, so stay tuned for that. The golf show this week, GolfNewsRI will not be there as far as having a booth. I think I'm going to try to go at least one of the 2 days to walk around and see everybody. Want to see my friends at Pinned and the Veterans Golf Association and other places. So my goal is to be there at least one of the 3 days, if not 2 of the 3 days. We'll see how it goes. Look for me. I'll be a walking billboard of GolfNewsRI stuff. Again, we don't have a booth this year, but I will be there at some point to see what's going on and to check out the event and perhaps get some deals on a new golf game, which I am still looking for. So there's that. And the other thing, stay tuned Friday, tomorrow. We have a taping. I'm taping the. Let's try that again. I'm taping a podcast with Don Silk. He's a national recruiter. He's out in California. He helps kids find schools and schools find kids, etc. So we're going to talk a lot about high school recruiting, college golf, what colleges look for, what kids should be doing, should not be doing. He doesn't have a ton of kids that he works with around this area. He told me he has somebody in Maryland that he's working with, but college recruiting is mostly the same everywhere. For golf, it feels like it's mostly the same everywhere for golf. So that's gonna be really cool. I'm really looking forward to that conversation. So that's tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure the interview is going to air tomorrow on Friday, but it will certainly air on Saturday at the latest. So stay tuned for that, especially if you know people that are trying to be recruited or being recruited or trying to commit to a school like Max just did. So that'll be a really cool conversation. Again, that's coming up. I'm taping on Friday, and I'll probably be up either Friday afternoon, late afternoon, or Saturday morning. So really cool interview on that front. And then a few other things, but first, why don't we take this quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. This is the Golf News Podcast. Stay tuned. Billy Andre joins the show. Billy, thanks so much for doing this, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm very excited to be joined by an 11-time Emmy Award winner, and that is Armin Katayan. Massachusetts Women's Amateur Champion Allison Pig.
The days of the country club just being golf and maybe one amenity are gone. Unfortunately, Metacomet doesn't have those.
He has a very rare condition called kyphoscoliotic Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And at the time of diagnosis, there was only 60 documented cases in the world.
When we legitimately played the last 4 holes at Newport National, you could not see 50 yards.
And welcome back to the Golf Dudes podcast. Joe Calabro here. Hope everyone's having a great week. Hope everyone's enjoying the NCAA tournament so far. I'm looking forward to the big PC game on Friday night, Providence College against Kentucky. So I'll be a nervous wreck for sure. And maybe the PC will steal. I mean, it's not like an elite Kentucky team. It's not one of their all-time teams. I mean, they're certainly good, obviously, but PC plays defense. They should have a chance. But they haven't played defense in like a month, so that's kind of a problem. Anyway, that's all the college basketball we got. We'll do more of it as the tournament goes on. Obviously, we got the bracket challenge. Thanks to everybody for signing up, and the winner gets some GolfNewsRI swag, and so that should be fun. Help get our brand out there a little bit. Maybe get a hat like that or one of these cool glasses. There you go. When I hold the thing up, the green screen messes it up. Anyway, so we started the show talking about Max Jackson. The big news that he is committed to Rutgers to play Division I golf starting in the fall of 2024. And super excited for him. I was talking to kind of his dad here as we tape this, and he obviously his dad's excited, and playing college golf is a big deal, and playing Division I college golf is a big deal. And Rutgers plays a tough schedule generally. Chris Gotterup, the kid who played for Oklahoma, is now a pro. He went to Rutgers for his first 4 years and then transferred to Oklahoma for 1 year. So there is a path. If Max wants to go that way, there's a path to the pros. Certainly from Rutgers, you can get there from Rutgers. So that's great stuff. So it's going to be exciting to follow the rest of his high school career. Hopefully it doesn't go by too fast. And then certainly it'd be a ton of fun to watch him play in college and just grow and get better and, work on his game. I know he's already working on his game. I know he's working on his swing and going to different coaches and stuff. So super exciting stuff. So that was the big story. GolfNewsRI broke that on Wednesday night upon his announcement on social media. So that's still doing big traffic today, obviously, as you'd expect. And then the other big story, of course, is the Rhode Island 4-ball will be held at Crestwood and Warwick in early May. They previously didn't have a place for it, but great to see those two courses stepping up to host the event. So that is where we are, kind of on the local stuff. There's a couple of other minor things like Triggs is hiring grounds crew. It's a great opportunity to go work outside. There's a handful of other things kind of going on, but that's the gist of the local stuff. Obviously, college golf is in full swing. Both URI and Bryant were in action this past week or so. Brandon Gillis and Bryson Richards both played really well for URI. Both finished inside the top 7, but they didn't get anything else from the other 3 players on the roster. So once the other players get going, I still believe that URI is going to be a real good team this year and really fun to watch it and follow through the rest of their season and into the A10 tournament, and hopefully, they get the NCAA bid. So, good stuff for them. There's still a ways to go. So that's kind of the local scene. Obviously, on a national level, the biggest story this week was the USGA and the RNA teaming up to propose a rollback of the golf ball. Now, it's very confusing. I'm not going to lie. It's confusing to read, but they're planning to roll back the golf ball to help to solve the distance debate. Obviously, distance has been a problem, or it's thought to be a problem in the game of golf right now. And so one of the solutions and one of the proposals is to roll back the golf ball so it doesn't go as far. Now, a couple of things to note. This is not that proposal, if it's approved and whatever, isn't going to take effect until 2026. It's also a local rule, which means, and this is where it gets interesting, the USJ and RNA are proposing it. So obviously, so that means the US Open and the British Open would be enforcing it. But the PGA Tour and the PGA of America, among other tours, LIV, etc., they don't necessarily need to accept it. So what's going to be weird is if the PGA Tour declines to accept this proposal, declines to implement this rule, players essentially could play a different ball on the PGA Tour. They have to play a different ball when they go to, a U.S. Open or British Open. I don't know that they would do that necessarily, because that would just be strange. But in theory, you could do that. So that's kind of an interesting thing about it, is that, this has been proposed. We'll see if the PGA Tour and PGA of America, LIV Golf for that matter, we'll see if these guys accept the local rule, or if they're just going to do their own thing and we're going to have different golf balls everywhere. So that will be interesting. So basically what they're doing, and again, is pretty confusing. They're basically going to change the conditions of which the ball is tested. So, for example, as we have written here on GolfNewsRI.com, the current conditions allow for a combined carry and roll of more than 317 yards, but not more than 320 yards. Go figure. Currently, the balls are tested with 120-mile-an-hour club speed and 42 revolutions per second of spin and a launch angle of 10 degrees. You still with me? I'm telling you, it's confusing. I get it. And then, so these new proposed conditions by the USGA and RNA would be 127 miles an hour and 37 revolutions per second and a launch angle of 11 degrees. So in theory, this is supposed to limit the distance the ball is going to go. And according to the USGA and the RNA, this should reduce the distance by about 15 yards. So there's that. It's confusing. There's been a lot of chatter about it. We put up a statement by Acushnet, which is Titleist's parent company, and they were not happy about it because they only make one ball. They don't make separate balls for pro. None of these players do really. Obviously, pros can get their ball customized a little bit and different stuff, but for the most part, and I think this is what Justin Thomas's point was the other day during his press conference at the Valspar, is one of the cool things about golf is, and we play the same equipment as them, right? I can go out and play the same ball, the same clubs as Jordan Spieth or Tiger Woods or whatever, in theory, relatively the same. So that's what's cool about golf. This is obviously changing this, could change it. Is this again? I should have mentioned that this rule is only for elite players. So this is only applying for the pros. It's not obviously going to apply to our level of golf. It won't really matter. But now you're forcing equipment companies to make more than one ball, have different balls for different levels of golf. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It doesn't go into effect until 2026. Again, but these places, they have to be accepted, and the different tours and outlets have to accept this rule. It's a modern local rule or whatever that's being called. And so the PGA Tour and PGA of America and others, they don't necessarily have to accept this proposal, which that will be interesting to see what happens down the road. I'm not sure what to kind of think about it. I don't really have a great opinion on it. I don't know that distance is that much of a problem. It does become a problem on some of these older courses. So somebody framed it on Twitter. Basically, we're asking, do you want to keep having British Opens at St. Andrews? is kind of how they framed it, because St. Andrews is obviously an older course. It's not really built for today's technology necessarily. But the last Open that was there, I thought was pretty entertaining. The tournament was close. Just some of the holes kind of lose their luster because they're shorter than what they were expected to be, maybe. But it's still a great course, and it's still, I think the game is still in good shape. It feels like so. I'm not sure. Other people have done the research on this stuff. You can simply find it by following Brando Chambly on Twitter. He's got it all laid out. And I'm assuming his data is correct. The distance isn't really playing much of a factor on the tour, as much of a factor as people think it is. I'm not saying it's not a factor. It doesn't feel like the distance is as much of a factor on tour as what people are thinking. So lots of pushback. I actually texted Will Dixon and asked him about it. He's on the mini tour, so it's not necessarily apples to apples. But he says, I said, what do you think about the rollback proposed today? And he says he's sort of indifferent about it. He says he's not exactly sure yet what it's going to look like. It's like the long hitters are still going to be long, and the short hitters are just going to be shorter. So he doesn't really have a feel for it yet. Obviously, again, this is still a ways away, but he didn't seem that worried about it. I'm not sure if he considers himself a long hitter or a short hitter or somewhere in between. So, but he said he was indifferent. So it's interesting to get his take on it. Anyway, so that's the biggest story. Obviously, the Valspar Championship is this week. A heartbreaking loss for Christopher Rancourt. Not a loss necessarily, but a heartbreaker for Christopher Rancourt, the former URI star. Earlier this week in the Monday queue for this tournament. Just a tough way to finish. He slept on the 12-foot birdie putt, and then he came out. He missed it the next day, bogeyed the second to last hole, and then saved par on the last hole when he needed a birdie, at least two birdies coming in to make it. So a tough loss. It was interesting that I don't know the conditions. They blew the horn because of weather and darkness. So I'm not sure what the situation exactly was. If he could have, I know he could have probably put it out in that situation, but maybe there was really bad weather and they had to get off the course, or maybe it really was that dark. I'm not 1,000% sure. So it's obviously easy for me to second guess. But tough heartbreaker for him. But he's back at it this week. Him and Will Dixon are in the Corn Ferry Tour Monday queue, as the Corn Ferry Tour returns to action next week. So we get to see Davis Chatfield and everybody back in action there. So we'll have coverage, obviously, of that as well. So that's what we have going on. Certainly plenty going on. The season is slowly approaching. If these stupid snowstorms go away. The problem with the snowstorms is it's not even like real snow. It's just like a total waste of time, in my opinion. So if it's going to snow, at least like actually snow, not like 2 inches. So anyway, that's where we are. So that's what we got. This is the Golf News Podcast. We went over everything today. Again, if you're looking for something in particular, Max Jackson is in the first part of the show, the very opening part of the show. So feel free to rewind this and listen again to hear that conversation. And then we talked about obviously the 4-ball, and obviously a few other news and notes and stuff that we're trying to do in the next coming weeks and month or so. So it should be really exciting, and we're looking forward to getting the season started. So with that all said, I hope you all enjoy the rest of the weekend. I hope you all enjoy the college basketball. Good luck to the Friars. Hopefully they get a W. And we will talk to you all. Oh, also have a safe St. Patrick's Day. I almost forgot. Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. Friday is St. Patrick's Day. So have a safe and happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate. Party hard, but not too hard. And we will talk to you all next week. And again, stay tuned for my interview with Don Silk, a national recruiter, coming up in the next couple of days. So that should be really great. So thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we will talk to you all next time. Bye.